What's up, my wizards? Dev from SBMTG, channel down there. Today we have spoilers. Haven't done these in a few days, so I didn't just want to do like one card. Right now, we've got something like 9 cards to go through, but some of them don't take too much explaining. But there's others that I'm very excited about, so let's check it out. I want to start off, as usual, by talking about something I'm really excited about, and this looks unassuming at first, but a lot of talk going on about this card. This is Eldrazi Displacer. Get the flavor out of the way, it's a white Eldrazi. We haven't seen there, at least an Eldrazi that costs you white mana. It's not a white Eldrazi. People get on to you if you say stuff like that, but you know what we mean. It's a white Eldrazi. Haven't seen that yet. That's cool. Flavor's awesome. Good deal. 3 mana, 3/3, splashable. That's fine. All of these things are good, but let's get down to this ability. I love flicker abilities, blink abilities, whatever you call them. I love Into the Battlefield triggers, leads me to loving these flicker abilities. So this is particularly awesome in the new standard, and somebody's already come up with an infinite combo with it. A budget infinite combo, actually. This I have to give the credit to it's Davis Walker, a user commenter on mythicspoiler.com, and he came up with this like quick too. All you gotta do is have Eldrazi Displacer, you've got a Brood Monitor, and you've got a Zulaport Cutthroat out. All you got to do is pay 3 mana, blink the Brood Monitor, it'll come back into play, giving you 3 Scions. You sack those Scions, that deals 3 damage and you gain 3 life thanks to the Zulaport Cutthroat. Then you can use the 3 mana you just got from sacking the Scions to use this guy's ability again. Note that he does not tap to use this ability. That's pretty awesome right there. So you can just string this over and over, gaining life and dealing damage until you've done, I don't know, whatever you want to do, a zillion, and then you win the game. That's right, it's infinite combo. Goes infinite like that, and it's pretty freaking amazing. You don't have to wait till the end of the turn for the creature to come back like you might with some cards. It's not sorcery speed, this is instant speed. That's awesome. Can target opponent's creatures, taking them out of combat, either on your turn or on their turn. That's cool because the creature comes back into play tapped. Very noteworthy. This can also target their creatures. Meaning that you can blank awaken lands. I haven't seen anybody talk about that. That's really cool. You can get rid of tokens forever, including, you know, we've seen a lot of Gideons running around lately, and with Nissa coming out, it looks like the token strategies are going to get a little bit more prominent. So, blanking tokens is actually pretty cool. And he comes on a good stick, too. A 3/3 for 3 mana is fine. And it's also worthy of note that we have a creature named Siege Rhino in the format for the next few months. So just everything that this guy does is amazing. Also worth noting, this totally blank spot removal. If they target a creature with it, you can just blink it, comes back into play, that spell's no longer targeting it, and goes to the graveyard. That's pretty awesome right there. Kills Hangerback Walkers completely. You blink the Walker, comes back into play as a 0/0, goes to the graveyard. There's a lot of awesome stuff. Oh, you can turn Gideon into a creature, and then reset his loyalty, basically. You know, turn Gideon into creature, target him with this guy's ability, he comes back into play with a fully refreshed loyalty. That's pretty cool too. So that's what, 20,000 things that I've just named in the current standard that are awesome with this card. So I think it might see some standard play, you guys. I don't know, just a hunch. Wasn't that card awesome? Let's keep it going. Another cool white card. This is Oath of Gideon, which I don't like as much as the other Oaths, but I do think that it has homes in standard. We'll talk about green-white tokens, and we already have a couple of times. Not only in this video, but I've also done a video on the channel where I showcase what green-white tokens might look like. I really think that might be a good deck, just in case you didn't know. This is another good piece for it on the 3rd turn. We can curve into a Gideon on the next turn with this. That's pretty cool, and this obviously goes well with Gideon. Not only do you get creatures that you can pump with the emblem on a Gideon, but when you play the Gideon, he has 5 loyalty if you have this out. That allows you to use his ultimate, get the emblem, and keep your Gideon around. That's pretty cool right there. So it interacts really well with its own Planeswalker. I like that. Outside of that, I think that Planeswalkers entering with +1 loyalty is fine, especially, again, say it again, green-white tokens. If you're playing the Nissa, that allows her to -2 twice. That's pretty cool and sort of important right there. So I don't think that's a junk ability, the whole, like, your guys get +1 loyalty. That's a Johnny would love, something like that, you know? But just getting the 2 tokens I think is viable too. A 3 mana thing that gets you 2 tokens. We call that Lingering Souls. Not quite. Lingering Souls is like way better, but I think so. But just the fact that it curves into its own Planeswalker really well is probably going to make this see standard play, maybe in like a mono-white mid-range kind of deck, or just a tokens-based build. I could see that. Now let's run through some cards that aren't quite as interesting, but will at least be interesting in limited play, so there's that. First of all, Bonesaw, which I do think is notable just because it's a 0 cost equipment. That seems fine. I mean, this is as bare bones See what I did there on the spur? I didn't even realize I was doing that when I said it, but the most bare bones equipment that they could possibly come up with to make it cost zero. You know, I'm totally fine with this though, not only in draft, but in sort of maybe standard equipment-based builds, which might become a thing. We've already seen one card that interacts well with equipment, and another equipment, Stoneforge Masterwork, that's really good. So I wouldn't, out of like budget builds, I wouldn't count this out. But it seems like a decent draft tool and costs nothing. That's cool. This is Pyromancer's Assault right here, and it looks kind of meh. 4 mana for an enchantment. Whenever you cast your second spell of the turn, you can shock something. I think this is probably going to be at least attempted to be played in draft and sealed and stuff. I do think that you could probably draft a good deck. So far from what we've seen, you could probably draft an interesting deck around the Surge archetype, the sort of Is It Surge deck, Probably going to at least try to be a thing in draft. But outside of that, this is just in no way, I don't think, is this constructed playable. This is Boulder Salvo, and I honestly want to be mad at this card. This had better not be the thing. Everyone says that, we might get some sort of Surge Bolt type spell, I'll show you later we have a Surge counterspell that might actually see some play. We'll talk about that. But this, if it is the Surge Lightning Bolt thing, then I am super disappointed. I mean, sorcery speed, 5 mana to hard cast, and yeah, if you've played something else, it gets considerably cheaper, but even then, it can only target creatures, and that's dumb, and it's like, we already have Roast in the format. I know this can target flyers. I totally get that. I mean, Roast can't, but I want to be so disappointed, but when you try to be objective, and you look at the practical applications of something like this, it could be a decent card, maybe played out of the sideboard. We already see Roast as a sideboard card, So maybe after Roast rotates, we play this as a sideboard? Man, I don't know. So in draft, it's fantastic, I want it to be constructed playable so bad, but it seems like Wizards is, and I'm a lover of Wizards. I think that they're good to the players for the most part. They try to make fun and enjoyable things, blah, blah, blah. I mean, we can get into the Wizards debate later. But I think that Wizards appears to be slightly scared of, this is all speculation, but just slightly scared of like really good low-cost removal. Mark Rosewater has said almost as much in an article before, it's just, he says it's not fun. Low speed, instant speed, or low cost, instant speed removal, it's not fun. And that's also debatable, it's fun for some people. But it just seems like they're trying to shy away from that and make the first few turns you're more free to play your guys and set up, which that's a cool philosophy. I'm into that, but at the same time, I think a lot of us expected a better card than this. That's all I'm going to say. This is Sifter of Skulls. Not a bad card by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, I think it's probably, again, going to be fine in limited environments, but time will tell if it's good in a sort of Aristocrats type build. People are already saying Aristocrats maybe. We did get Vile Redeemer also in this set, and I think that card's going to require a translation, so I'll just say that it's the thing that if your guys died, it's like a 3/3 flash for 3, and if guys died this turn, you can pay an extra colorless, and the guys that died this turn, you can get Scion for each one of those guys. I think that's probably a better card than this card, to be honest with you. But still looks interesting. If you could play Vile Redeemer and this, the sort of Eldrazi Aristocrats thing with like the 1-drop Blight Pod, I think it is, that thing, Blister Pod, thank you. Brain. But you can play that with like similar cards and that. I could see that being a fun budget build, But all things considered, I don't know that he'll like totally break standard play or anything. He might be in a specialized deck here or there, but I'm not seeing him really have much of an impact. This is Embodiment of Insight right here. It's funny, when I previewed the red guy that does something similar to this, it's the exact same card, but it costs a mana less, and it gives them Trample instead of Vigilance. A guy in the comments was like, now I just have to give the lands Vigilance. And it's like, here you go, buddy. This is exactly what you were looking for. It's this guy right here. He's pretty cool from what I can tell. He's going to, again, impact limited environments, but he is priced way out of constructed play, I would say. It is, however, hilarious to give your lands Vigilance. Being able to swing in and still tap, not only for second main spells, but combat spells, combat tricks. That's pretty cool, and I can see that, again, impacting limited a lot. But in standard, that's far too expensive. Let's get into some cards that require slightly more discussion, I would say. This is Overwhelming Denial right here, which has split the community in some ways. Some people say it's straight up bad, and some people say it's even modern playable. Which, you know, some people say this is standard playable, but not modern playable. Some people say this is modern playable, not standard playable. Here's the arguments. As far as modern goes, I think there is a fairly strong argument because of the overabundance of 1 mana and even 2 mana, but mostly 1 mana cost draw and burn spells in that format. There's an awful lot. This also ends Counter Wars, no questions asked, is strictly better than Last Word. That's cool. It's a strict upgrade to that card, and people like Last Word and Commander and stuff, so maybe. The argument for standard play is that we're going to be playing instant speed things like Anticipate, perhaps, and other spells. You know, we're going to be playing in the Surge deck, probably instant speed burn or removal tricks and things like that. Some decks even want to use combat tricks. I've heard some talk about that, but I don't think that aggro Surge is going to be a thing. I might eat my words, but it's not looking right to me. But in any case, Denial wouldn't be in that deck anyway. But I do think it has a lot of standard potential in just that in the Esper Dragons deck or just the Esper Control deck. You could always anticipate or dig through time, you know, while we still have that in the format, into this, and it would cost less mana, you know. It's flexible. It's flexible. If you have to, you can hard cast it, even though most of the time you're going to be wanting to surge it. And standard especially, even if you're hard casting it, counter target spell, no questions asked, and they can't like dispel it. In standard, Dispel is an important card. I could see this working. That's all I'm saying, is I could see this working. And the last card I want to talk about today is a very exciting card. I'm bookended it with good cards here. And it's a card I haven't talked about yet, and like almost every other YouTuber has. So I don't really have much to say about it, right? This is that nobody else has said yet. This is Oath of Nissa. I haven't talked about it yet. Immediately calls to mind things like Anticipate, obviously, and even to an extent, Brainstorm, a 1-mana card that lets you look at the top 3 cards. That's just great. I think that what people are saying is probably right. I think it's a modern playable card all day long. Some people are talking about Legacy. We'll see. Definitely helps you find the pieces you need in any format, though, on turn 1. That's awesome. This is definitely the best 1-drop in Standard immediately, and that includes things like Monastery Swift Spear. You know, I think this is a stronger card, obviously for different decks. But just, this is going to be an important card for a long time, I would say. Go ahead and get your copies. And I do just want to point out that the second ability isn't total junk. You know, being able to tap whatever mana you want to play whatever Planeswalker you want is actually pretty freaking sweet when things like Sarkhan and Broken are in the format, you know. We'll have to see what other Planeswalkers we end up with. We won't see too many more, you know. But being able to play, you know, Chandra, Gideon, the other Planeswalkers, Kiora, you know, Obnixilis with any color mana, it's actually pretty dope. But we're mostly focused on that first ability, which is super dumb, and it's amazing that they printed this, honestly. It kind of is. That is all I have for now, but spoilers are going to be rolling on really quickly. I believe, if I'm not mistaken here, and let me know if I am, that they're going to be done with these spoilers by the end of the week. So that means with like half the set spoiled, that we're going to get a lot of spoilers in quick succession here. So stick with the channel, like if you enjoyed the content. I really, really hope you did, because I work hard. And I'll see you guys later. Subscribe if you're new, by the way. If you're please do the YouTube things. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching, my wizards.